that. And this is about the American people. And I'm, again, want to thank our witnesses for being here. Something preliminary that I'd like to get to. One of our colleagues asked, Mr. Markovich, they asked about the issue of people who don't use services in a year somehow being fraudulent. This is something you mentioned in your written testimony. Could you take a brief moment to discuss that point?
Well, on average, in any population we insure as a group employers, probably 20% or a little more than 20% of people don't have a claim in a given year. And in California, in the Affordable Care Act, we had approximately 18% who didn't have a claim. So we haven't really seen a big difference there. The last thing I'd say is that we work closely with Covered California to institute things like dual-factor authentication, and so we are not seeing evidence of fraud in that state.
So it's not fraud?
Well, not in California.
Right. All right, well, listen, thank you, Mr. Markovich. I also wanted, Mr. Chairman, to submit for the record, first to associate myself with the remarks of Mr. Neal, and I wanted to submit for the record this district court opinion from Maryland. And the opinion has to do with something we've been calling for on this side of the aisle, which are hearings, frankly, like this one, where you're candid and people get to ask questions. It's a very simple thing that we're asking for also. We wanted Elon Musk and DOGE to come before the committee and talk to us. Imagine they don't have to talk to anybody. They are in every one of our agencies, but most notably Social Security, something all of you are familiar with. And they're there going over people's personal information. And this report by the Trump Justice Department says that those individuals have given information, something we have been saying on this side of the aisle is why they should be prevented. To her credit, Trump's appointee said, I would rather resign my position than allow people to have access to the personal data of more than 300 million Americans. She was asked to leave and was replaced temporarily by an individual who, in fact, had already been suspended because he had given information to private sector agencies. He was the person who was interim before our current SSA. This screams and demands this committee, like we're sitting here today, to sit with DOGE and Elon Musk and Mr. Davis and ask those very questions about what has happened. You're going to be grilled on questions of what you're doing today, rightfully so. And I commend our colleagues, and I commend the chairman for saying that there's going to be further discussions, bringing in the hospitals and the doctors and all the costs. I wish we could say we had a plan from the other side, but we don't. But if we're going to be having hearings and we want to be candid and get to questions that need to be answered and actually work together bipartisanly for solutions, then we need to be able to honor a member's request. We have something that's called a resolution of inquiry that should provide this. Mr. Musk was able to avoid that because he's above the law. No one's above the law. We need answers to these questions. Thank you for being here to answer tough questions. I yield back.